and given we make time, I'll meet you down the line. Down the line, we'll meet up down the line. Down the line.
Today, as we prepare to head down to North Carolina to collaborate on a drone search for a missing 67-year-old woman named Frances Apperson, I wanted to take some time to do what we normally do whenever we start looking at doing searches for a new case. I'm going to share the story with all of you about who Frances is, how she disappeared, and the search efforts that have taken place up until now. One thing that makes this case a little different is that the last place Frances was seen is not where authorities believe she may be. She was last seen leaving her home on North Course Drive in South Charlotte on May 17, 2022. The investigation led search crews to the Linville area where they knew Frances was traveling to that day, and search crews were finally able to locate her car in the Linville Falls area. Unfortunately, by the time they found it, the car was covered in a layer of pollen, indicating that it had been sitting there for at least a few days. According to police, this wasn't the first time Frances had visited Linville, but they were uncertain why she decided to travel there and visit the Linville Falls wilderness area alone. Let's take a look at where her car was located and the type of terrain that we're looking at here. Rescue crews apparently have already searched through the area off Old Highway 105 where they found her car. Complicating issues during the search is that Frances is hearing impaired and couldn't have heard searchers calling even if they were very close to her. That means that it's still possible that she could be located not far from the boundary of the original search area, or there could be difficult to reach locations within the boundary that searchers could have missed. If we take a closer look at the trails she may have hiked into from her car, you can see that there are cliffs and drop-offs since this area is essentially part of a massive gorge. The possibility of an accidental slip and fall at any point during her hike is very possible. This news report 2 years ago mentioned that the search crews were focusing in on the Linville Falls area itself. Let's take a look.
Also breaking here at noon, search and rescue teams in Burke County are looking for a Charlotte woman who's been missing now for about 3 weeks. Take a good look at your screen. They say Frances Apperson was last seen leaving her home in Charlotte on May 17th. Crews are currently looking for her in the area of Linville Falls off of Old NC 105. They say she is deaf. She stands about 5'2" with brown shoulder-length hair and has brown eyes. If you have any information about where she may be, please call 911.
This location makes sense because if there were any reason for Frances to hike alone into this wilderness area, taking a relatively short hike to a waterfall might make sense. If we look at the All Trails map for Linville Falls, you can see that All Trails recommends starting this hike at the Linville Falls Visitor Center, crossing a bridge over the Linville River, and then hiking the half-mile along Irwin's View Trail, which eventually takes you to the Upper Falls Overlook. However, Frances's car was not found at the Visitor Center. It was found at the Linville Gorge parking area, which is along Old North Carolina 105. All Trails refers to this road as Kistler Memorial Highway. This parking area was the location where her car had been located, and the trail from this parking area to the falls is also about half a mile. Clearly, she must have thought that a half-mile walk in and a half-mile walk out would not be too much or too dangerous for her to do alone. Additionally, the elevation gain over the entire trail is only 82 feet, which means the trail itself is relatively flat and not very difficult to hike. During my time hiking various trails through the years, I've very often seen retirees hiking along trails like this one. They offer beautiful scenic views with very little effort or danger. If we examine the elevation lines, it's clear that the trail works along a slope that heads down to a stream. After almost half a mile, the trail joins Irwin's View Trail with one trail to the left before a final T in the trail just a little further ahead. To get to the Upper Falls Overlook, she would have had to have taken a left at the T and followed the path to the overlook. This is what the Upper Falls Overlook looks like. There are plenty of opportunities around here for someone to trip and fall into crevices, as well as fast-running water all around that could be easy to slip into. Another theory that I thought about while I was looking at this map is that based on my past hiking experiences, some of these double trail intersections can get confusing for people who have a very poor sense of direction or aren't paying attention to where they are on the trail. The first intersecting trail with Irwin's View Trail coming in the direction Frances was headed would look something like this. Now, since there are technically two intersections where Irwin's View goes off to the left, it is remotely possible Frances may have believed she was at the second T at the end when she was actually at the first intersection. This is possible because often intersections where a trail tees off from the left and intersections where your current trail tees into another often look nearly identical. And given that the name of the trail on the left is also identical, it's conceivable Frances could have inadvertently taken the first left instead of the second. If this happened, she could have believed she was headed up the second path to the Upper Falls Overlook when she was actually headed up the trail, headed toward the visitor center. If this was the scenario, it's possible when she saw the first stream crossing up that trail, she became disoriented and confused and possibly not sure where she was. Often when that happens to people, they may attempt to go slightly off trail, thinking the correct trail is in a particular direction that it isn't. This makes the area around Irwin's View Trail and down to the river from there also significant as search areas. Vern may have had this same exact thought, so I'm looking forward to meeting with him this week and talking about our strategy and tactical plans so we can make the best use of our time and his impressive technical resources and skills. So with a bit of luck and a lot of prayer, we're hopeful that we may be able to work with Vern to bring a resolution to this 2-year case and bring Frances Apperson's family some much-needed resolution. Thanks for listening, and as always, we appreciate all of your support. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, and never stop searching for the truth.